Hey, everybody, welcome to the Anti-Influencer podcast slash YouTube channel. Today, we're going to actually go over YouTube and we're going to talk about 2024 YouTube trends, how small channels can make big money in 2024. So this video is not for Mr. Beast. It's for those people who have modest channels who still want to make some big money. That's my buddy Maribon right over there. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Peter. Thank you for being with me today to talk about YouTube strategies and how to just really build your business is the main thing we're talking about here for all of you. So yeah, really excited to get into it, Peter. We'll go through some of your ideas, some of mine, and have a lot of follow-ups. So yeah, I mean, you want to just get straight into your first concept, your first strategy?
Yeah, I would. So, I mean, one thing that is going to be very important on YouTube, which I think you have to do, is YouTube Shorts, because the trend is your friend. You always have to kind of give these social media algorithms what they want if you want to survive and stay out there, but also having kind of a smart goal for how to use these. So I just want to share some of my stats. This right here today is about how small channels can make big money. Okay, so I actually want to share some stats with you, Maribon, and everybody out there about what I did on YouTube in 2023. Right now, we're recording this in January, so this was not very long ago. And I just crossed over 66,000 subscribers. So I have 66,162 subscribers. Some people might think, wow, that's a lot of subscribers. Other people might think that's a joke. I mean, everything's relative to where you are, right? But I would consider it a small YouTube channel. And this is all about how you can make big money with YouTube. And in the whole year, the entire year, I had 3.7 million views. And I did focus on shorts because that's what YouTube wants. They want the shorts. And so about 2.5, 2.6 million of the 3.7 million views were shorts. So the majority of views are shorts. I made $5,320 off YouTube, off the ad revenue that they pay you, the checks that Google's going to send you. I made $5,320 and 22 cents. By the way, don't forget
Important.
those 22 cents.
Never.
Maribon, guess out of an audience, if you're watching this, guess out of the $5,320 how much money, considering I had 2.5 million views on shorts, how much money did I make off shorts out of the $5,320?
The way you're asking me, buddy.
Guess it.
Sounds low. It sounds damn low. I'm gonna guess $800.
Guess again.
Oh no.
Do you think you should go higher, or do you think you should go lower?
I should go lower.
You're guessing lower?
Yeah.
Guess again. You said 800 the first time. Audience, guess if you're watching this.
400.
Guess again.
200.
Guess again.
100.
$153.
Oh man.
$153 out of $5,320.
Wow.
Okay.
Rich. Jeez.
Isn't that crazy? And
crazy.
Out of 3.7 million views, 2.5 or 6 million of the views were shorts. So the heavy lifting is still done by your long form content. And the thing that I really want to really hammer home to people, and then I'll hand it over to Maribon for his tip, is the title of this video is like, you guys are saying how to make big money off small channels, and you're telling me that you made $5,320. I'm ready to go to the next video. Like, what are y'all talking about? But it right now is January. What are we at? The 12th? Is today the 11th or 12th?
12th.
All right, January 12th. So January 12th, and for the month, I've made over $19,000 online. And I'm an online tennis coach, and so I make my living through teaching tennis. And guess how many tennis lessons I've given in January. How many times have I been on the court to teach a lesson in January? Maribon, what do you think? And I've made $19,000.
I'm gonna guess a goose egg.
Zero. That's right. 0 hours. Okay. So how am I doing that? And we're going to get into more of that later in this video. Okay. But I just want people to know that I want small YouTube channels. I want you to do YouTube. I think it's important. I want you to do YouTube Shorts. I think it's important. But I don't want you to be a YouTuber as your main goal, because you're leaving, as you can obviously see, the majority of money off the table. I did a lot of work on YouTube. I made $5,000 the entire year. I'm an online tennis coach, and in 11 days, I've made $19,000 not teaching one tennis lesson. And I think I've made, like, this month maybe $250 or $60 off YouTube so far. So we'll come back to that riddle later. Okay, your turn.
Right, Peter. So I think one really important thing, one important strategy when you're on YouTube, and obviously linking your YouTube videos to your business, is you do want to analyze like your analytics on YouTube. You want to look at, in particular, what I find has been really helpful is the graph, where it shows like the engagement, like where's the drop off, because I think that's the quickest way to get more people to retain them actually on your videos, which is really important. Increase the watch time and whatnot. So you go to the graph, and then you see where are the big drop offs, what's happening. A lot of times that's maybe the intro, for example, is way too long, and you're seeing like 30 to 40% of the views drop right there. And so then you think, either you want to shorten the intro or you want to just delete it altogether. I've seen some very successful YouTubers these days with no intro at all. And yeah, I just think that's one of the best things you can do to just improve your YouTube game. It's pretty brief tip, but I think it's fun too, and there's obviously other things where maybe, like, let's say, like when you're summarizing, like maybe there's a drop off, or maybe you find that, like, one of the points that you made wasn't so well articulated, and that's a drop off. So it's just really, really cool to help you like figure out how can I improve the deliciousness of my YouTube videos, to use a strange word there. But yeah, so I imagine that you do that, Peter.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that I look at, here's a couple of stats that I look at. Again, I'm a small YouTuber, okay? So I'm not like Mr. Beast. I release a video and I'm going to have, just expect 1 billion views to come in like, an hour.
But
so,
for tennis, it's great though. Great for tennis.
Yeah. So what I look at is when I put a video out. Now, there's some videos that somehow can pick up steam later. It does happen occasionally, to where I'll see a video to where the views are like really modest in the beginning, maybe really even kind of disappointing after a day. You're like, oh man, I thought that was a good video. And then you look back a couple months later, and then all of a sudden you see it has 30, 40,000 views. That happens, but rarely. Okay. So what I try and look at is, in the first couple hours, can my views be ahead of my minutes that it's released? So, like, if a video is been out for 5 minutes, do I have at least 15 views? Then it's got a chance. If it's been out for a half hour, does it have 60 to 70 views? And I'm like, okay, this thing for my niche can have a little bit of a run. I'm thinking, okay, now it's gonna, maybe at the bare minimum, get 2,000-3,000 views. It might get 5, it might get 10, it might take off to 100,000 views. If I can kind of maybe be doubling the minutes watched in the first couple hours. I get concerned when I look at a video and it's like 30 minutes been out and it's got like 15 views, and I know, like, oh, I probably need to go back on the drawing board. I probably didn't do a good title. I probably didn't do a good thumbnail. Maybe my opening hook in the first 5 to 10 seconds was weak, so people are turning away, and YouTube's starting to turn down the faucet on me and going, I don't think we're going to show this video for Pete today. So that's one of the big stats I look at. and then watch time. Like if you do want to, if you're like,
Yeah.
I want to make money off my YouTube videos, right? You should be focused on longer form videos, and the more you can come up with a video that can keep people engaged for a long time, like Lex Friedman, who does a podcast, and Joe Rogan, like they're probably making the most money off YouTube, especially when Joe Rogan was not on, he went to Spotify now.
Spotify.
But I mean, these are videos that people like the interviews, and they were ready. They're like, okay, game on. It's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of my day. Now that's gonna make some big money. Like I just released a video, a tennis video that was 51 minutes long. The average watch time is 9 minutes and 37 seconds. So that's, it doesn't sound like it, but when that's actually pretty good. And it only has 1,700 views, but it's made $15.47. So like, if that video actually went viral, if that video got 30, 40, 50,000 views with that kind of average watch time, that could actually be a video where you're like, wow, I mean, that could maybe pay for a couple dinners and maybe a little bit of shopping. So
Yeah.
that's another big stat to look out for.
Yeah, yeah, really good stuff there, Peter. In terms of picking topics as well, I don't know if you have more to say about the analytics on that. I mean, it was my topic, but I mean, you know, what what do you do in terms of like picking topics? Because I think I've heard a discussion here. Some people think you should niche down. Other people think that you should like just do any sort, like whatever videos you're interested in, and then whichever one picks up steam, like that's the one that you should like pick and then niche at that point. Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think the better you're prepared for what your channel is going to be about, the faster you're going to gain traction, the more focused you're going to be, the more people are not confused when they come to your channel.
Right.
Um, I think if you're somebody who's trying to go viral all the time and you don't really have like a business idea, but more like you want to get views, it doesn't hurt to, I guess, maybe throw stuff at the wall from like, throwing a video up with a political figure that's popular, or, something that happened in sports, or just kind of go all over the map until you see that people kind of are attracted to one thing that you're doing, if you're trying to have that kind of channel. But I think if you're trying to like run an actual business, the more you really go, this channel's about this,
Yeah.
then people kind of know what they're coming for. Like
Yeah.
my channel's about tennis. I think I mostly focus on technique. So people, if they want to improve their serve technique, they're going to start coming back to my channel, and they kind of get used to that. And you can't appreciate how passionate these people are about a certain thing. If you think like, well, I've already made a video on X, like for example, for me, one thing that usually does well for me, because I'm a lefty, and in tennis, there's this thing called the slice serve, which can make the ball curve off the court into the side fence. People think that's kind of a cool thing. I'm kind of good at it. So I've made some slice serve videos. You would think, well, I've already talked about the slice serve. They don't want to see that again. Well, there's always new crowds coming out, or there might be somebody who watched your slice serve video a year or two ago, and you make another one. They want to watch the new one, even if a lot of the same tips are the same. There's
Yeah.
only so many things I can say about a slice serve, but if they just even pick up one thing they didn't hear the time before, they feel like they didn't waste their time. So if you have a topic that people are very interested in, don't be afraid to make 10, 20, 30, even 50 videos on pretty much like the same exact part of the topic, and it will continue to do well. And YouTube will continue to push that out, because like, oh, the last time you made something on this topic, people liked it. So
Yeah.
we're going to show it again.
Yeah. I mean, just to reiterate. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Yeah, I was just
Never
gonna
mind.
say, I've thanks. I've seen so many videos from instructors and like just everybody, marketers, whatever, like just the same topic over and over. I mean, not obviously like one after the other, but just like they do it one day and then like a few weeks later, it's super similar, almost the same thing. And yeah, because I do think there's a lot of people who are afraid of like, oh, like they've seen this video before. I was like that before too, but definitely yeah, that's a great point there, Peter. Um, So yeah, I know we went on a little detour, courtesy me, but do you have another um, topic you want to discuss on here?
Well, I guess as far as also good topics to pick from. So I'm going to talk about topics, then I'm going to have it go to you, and then I want to talk about get into titles a little more. So topics, titles, a little bit different.
Okay.
Um, Another great topic that you can focus on is if there's something that is popular in your neck of the woods, in the world that you talk about, to latch on to those people or events is a good idea to get views. Like for us, we're tennis people, me and Maribon. I like to make videos centering around the Australian Open. And so it could be a certain player that's doing well at the Australian Open. It could be a certain match that everybody kind of goes, oh my God, that was an amazing match. It could be a shot. It could be something weird that happened in the crowd. You know, if you make a video on that where everybody's gonna be like, oh my gosh, like, did you see that shot? Or I'm really excited this person's doing so well, then those videos can do very, very well on your channel. And those to me have been the videos that have taken off the fastest, where I can, look back the next day and all of a sudden I've got 15, 20,000 views the next day. And that is not typical for my channel. Usually it's a slow kind of grind and churn to get up there, and it happens. But, it's more predictable when you are latching on to a popular event in whatever niche you're talking about.
Nice, nice, beautiful. Thank you for that, Peter. Yeah, so you wanted to bump it back to me then.
Yeah.
So I think one really cool concept that'll like just make you more excited about making YouTube videos, because as we all know, it's tough, to stay consistent, is to keep in mind to make one improvement per video, one new improvement. So I took a YouTube course called Part-Time YouTuber Academy by this fellow Ali Abdal, who's a great YouTube channel about productivity. And that was one of his main concepts. Just every time you pick a goal, you say like, okay, this time I want to improve my transitions on the video, or this time I want to improve my voice projection, or maybe some other sort of editing. And when you do it like that, then again, it just keeps you kind of more engaged and focused for each video. And then obviously, these these improvements add up, quite a bit. So you're going to gradually notice a lot of improvements in your video, and it'll be at a next level. I know a lot of us get into the kind of the trap of just, we got to get a video out there, and certainly, like, the consistency part is important, but also if you're able to improve your video, like we talked about a little bit earlier too, like looking at the analytics and what's going on there, and am I getting enough views for the time, like this is a really good metric that Peter mentioned, then you're gonna skyrocket, I think, over time. So yeah, I mean, is that something that you try to do here and there, Peter? You notice like, oh, next video I want to improve X.
Yeah, definitely. Before I go into what I focus on
Mm.
improving and still seem to not have figured out, is I would like to know what you think if you were to tell the viewers, like, hey, if you want to get more eyeballs on your video the next time, if you were disappointed, what would be the 2 or 3 things you would tell them to try and improve for their next video?
More eyeballs overall?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. Tell me if this is off topic for you, but I mean, it would be titles and thumbnails.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Boom. You know,
Yeah.
and so good job. And
Yeah.
that I was actually just watching a video before we got ready for this, kind of get in the mode, and it was
Me
from
too.
Think Media, which is really good, and they were talking about 2024 trends. And one of the things that they were saying is if you are struggling with your videos, which is normally a natural thing where you're thinking about the actual video, like, I got to get my video better, it'll get more views. It's like, if you're struggling with your videos and views, rather than, spending that extra time thinking about how you can edit it better next time, really look at your title and your thumbnail and think about, can that improve? And so totally 100%, you nailed that. Any other advice on what we're talking about right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I kind of want to, ask you and discuss. I mean, have you found any particular elements of the titles and thumbnails that like you've changed around that have really, helped you out from like, before when you started?
Well, I've actually think just recently, and that's kind of what we've already been talking about. I've been making videos this past week on like the best serve of 24, the best
Uh-huh.
forehand, Coco Golf, who's very popular. That videos, all these videos are getting pretty good views for me.
Sweet.
Around 8,000 views in just a couple of days, like 48 to
Nice.
72 hours.
Awesome.
And so it's again attaching myself to popular players and popular events, 2024 recency. And I feel like my thumbnails are pretty good for those. I've got like a bright yellow color, which kind of screams tennis, and it's bright. So I think if you have, obviously, when you're writing your words out, the more it can pop off the screen.
Mhm.
And then also another thing too is I'm trying to find pictures of not only of them hitting the ball, but that really focuses on their face,
Yeah,
because
that's a big one.
that's another one too, which I want to improve on my own videos when I'm just making a video about myself. Is I tend to not really show many close-ups or really work on like facial expressions. I just feel awkward doing that, but it's very apparent that those videos do well across so many different niches to make a happy face, a surprised face. They also said the more excited and happy your face is,
Mm.
those tend to do better than sad faces, which is interesting. So make a happy, excited face, a surprise face. Those tend to do well. Think about Mr. Beast. Yeah, those are very good, Maribon. If you're watching this, Maribon's making some great faces right now.
Thank you.
And also be to the point. 2 words. So I would say a big mistake I've made is I've put too many images, probably too far shot, maybe just showing myself hitting a ball, but not really a close up, no facial
Mhm.
expressions. These are mistakes I'm making. And sometimes I add like a whole sentence in there on my thumbnail. And
Mm.
these are like, don't copy that, what I'm doing.
Got you, got you. How about the repetition on, like, let's say you have the title, whatever it is, and then like you repeat words from the title. Do you think that's necessarily like a good or bad thing or a waste? Like, should the words on the thumbnail be different?
That's a great question. I think if you have a great title, sometimes those words, a couple of those words could be in the
Fine.
thumbnail.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think the more your title can create the curiosity of
Mm,
like, you know, like in tennis, lots I can think of a lot of people have gotten some good views, like stop doing this,
mm, mhm.
copy that, things like that. The
Yeah, yeah,
secret,
yeah.
the secret, things like that tend to get people going. What are they talking about?
Yeah, makes you
Um,
click.
makes you click. You got to get the click. And then
Right.
I'd like to go over this with you, Maribon, because we
Yeah,
talked.
sure.
We're on topic thumbnails and titles. This I got. I think we both bought the same course, which is from Think Media on a YouTube kind of survival kit, and they have
Yeah.
15 best title formulas for getting views. So the number one is the how to. So
Mhm.
how to searches have grown by 70% year over year. Example, how to lose weight fast without exercise at home. So that's like a nice formula. How to do this without having to do that. Um, so people want to, that's another kind of just like really good tip within this title. People want to learn how to do something without having to work too hard at it, unfortunately. Even though we know logically, like after I watch this video, it's probably not as easy as they make it, but I sure hope it is. So how to study the Bible for beginners, how to
Mm.
cook steak in a cast iron skillet, how to make the best apple pie without an oven, how to make a YouTube video. So, what do you think about the how to titles there? Do you use them in your videos?
Yeah, I use them quite a bit, as well as my podcast. I actually have like a lot of how tos, so I find they do pretty well, and I think that it's just it's a very common searchable term. Like people will always be typing, how to hit a good serve, how to hit a forehand, how to hit a backhand, things like that. So I think that's probably why it's revered so highly in Sean Cannell's kit there, the Think Media kit. So yeah, I use it a lot. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think that the how to, though, the sophistication of it has moved on, right? Because I
Mm,
think you can have how to hit a backhand, but I think people want to learn like how to do this and add 20 miles an hour to it. How to
mm,
do this without having to do that.
right.
So the more you can kind of, I think you're going to have to add a little bit of a tail to the end of it so people are more enticed to want to watch it, right? Because if
Yeah.
you're just watching how to hit a backhand, right, as one example, and then the next video right next to it's, how to hit a backhand 100 miles an hour without having to practice on the tennis court or something like that. Then you're like, oh, I
Yeah.
want to learn how to do that. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's changed a little bit. All right, here's another one: do's and don'ts, pros and cons. And
Yes.
so he also mixes up numbers too. So mixing up your pros and your cons and your do's and your don'ts with numbers. 10 do's and don'ts of traveling alone. 8 pros and cons of traveling by car.
Mm,
7 extreme fashion do's and don'ts. Pros and cons of living in Arizona.
mm.
That's a good one.
That's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
kind of use a similar one. Like one of my articles on my blog many years ago, it like exploded and it was 13 mistakes tennis players make. So it's like kind of sort of like that title, but yeah, I just remember that one doing like super well. Um yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think I think ones that do well are like the ones that are short. Like you got 3, right? Because they're like, oh, I just got to watch 3 tips. I
mm,
think like 3, 5, 10,
mm,
and then like a top 10 list, right? Because then you
mm-hmm.
want to that this is a good thing for engagement too, because then people feel compelled. They want to know all of the things. Like
Right.
I like to watch like top 10 vacation like destinations. Things like that. Top 10 beaches. I want to know what they all are. Um, so and then just like also an outrageous number, you know? So like you got 3, 5, 10, and then if you have something like crazy, like 56 reasons to do blank this next year. Um, I noticed that those can tend to kind of do pretty well too.
Yeah.
Next one, which we're kind of talking about, and you can mix them well with pros and cons and do's and don'ts that we just learned, is list. So 10 countries that may not survive the next 20 years. Now that
Oh,
is a great title.
please don't be
I want
USA.
I want to watch that. I want to watch that video right now. I wonder if that
Yeah.
video exists. Like 10 countries that may not survive in the next 20 years. That's a strong title.
Out
That's
of
a strong
curiosity
title.
there,
Yeah.
eh?
Top 5 biggest animal mysteries ever. It's okay. 5 things every content creator needs. What do you think? You grade these. Give that a grade.
It just said 5 things every content creator
5
needs.
things every content creator needs.
Yeah, the things as is the one that's kind of tripping me up. I'll give it a 6.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think that could be better because it's like maybe you make that stronger by adding YouTuber or TikToker, things like
Yeah, yeah.
that.
True, true. I agree.
Um, Top 5 fishing accessories for beginners.
That's good.
Yep. 15 most incredible homes in the world. I like that. I want to watch that
Yeah.
video.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
watch that video.
Me too right now.
Top 7 Chrome extensions for online entrepreneurs. Does that do anything for you?
Yeah, yeah, I'm into
All right.
that. Yeah.
All right. All right. The next one is verses. I think this is a good one. I think just like
Mm,
hearing this one, I should do more of this because it totally fits into. So
yeah.
if you're somebody out there doing sports, like the one-handed backhand versus two-handed backhand, Roger
Mm,
Federer's forehand versus Rafael Nadal's
there
forehand.
you
Like
go.
um,
Boom.
yeah. So it's whey protein versus plant protein. Socialism versus capitalism explained. Explained, I know, is another good one. That's popular. See that a lot. Explained,
Mm.
right? Homeschool versus public school. Best camera for YouTube, the M50 versus the Sony AS400. CBD versus Tylenol, treating pain and inflammation. That's a good one right there.
Mm.
Yeah, we'll do one more. I don't think we're going to go through all of them because then that's kind of really going to take a lot of time. But you guys can look this up. I think this is good. Specific results, and I think that's another key to getting this a YouTube title. Just really dialing it in. The more specific you can be, then people are like, "Oh, I definitely want to watch this." You don't. The whole thing, we're fighting for attention. And what is the opposite in people's minds? Like, don't waste my time, right? So we're fighting for your attention, and what they don't want to do is waste their time when they give you attention. So the more specific you can be, the better. How we gain 55,000 subscribers in 90 days, 3 tips to grow your YouTube channel. Like, that right there is gold.
Yeah.
55,000 subscribers in 90 days. Wow, I'd love to
Mm.
do that. How do you do that?
Oh yeah.
3 tips. Oh, I got to learn this 3 tips. I just got to keep it simple. Know these 3 tips. That's like maybe the best title we've heard, right? So the more specific you can be. How I recruited 10 people in 10 days in my network marketing business. Good. How to make your
Mm-hmm.
first $1,000 as a fitness coach. See, again, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a little
Yeah.
weak. It's too
Uh,
general.
yeah. A little weak. A little weak.
How to lose 10 pounds in a week. Again, how would we make that better? How to lose 10 pounds in a week and still eat cake or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's what I
You
want.
know, or with a blank diet,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
More specificity. Yeah. Gotcha.
How to lose 10 pounds in a week with no exercise.
Mm.
These make it stronger.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
think I'd make better titles? I have all this and I'm still not making these good titles. So that's another thing too. Really be focused, because sometimes I'll just want to get a video out and then I look
Yeah.
back
You
at the
just.
title. I'm like, it's not that good a title.
Yeah, and that's you mentioned the focus on them. I've heard some top YouTubers, including the Ali Abdel, who I mentioned, say that they actually don't make a video until they do the titles and thumbnails first. So yeah, that's their main focus, because that really gets you the initial, like, the click-through rate, obviously, which is huge.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm striving to be a better YouTuber and do all that. And so I think the best YouTubers, they do that. They literally have the discipline, the time, the foresight to get themselves in a quiet room and be able to really map out strong titles and strong thumbnails, start to work on scripts before they ever pick up the camera and go on a shoot. So I like that, but then also I don't want the idea of the procrastination, perfection,
Mm,
and procrastination, because I do that sometimes, and it does tend to work, but I am what I would call a solopreneur, and I do believe in just getting stuff done and out there as well. A lot of these people who will give you this advice, they literally have teams there.
right.
They'll have a team working on, so if you're seeing somebody make a video and you like want to be them, like Alex Hermosi and people like that, there's a good chance that they have a team literally coming up with all their titles and their thumbnails behind the scenes for them for months in advance.
Yeah.
So don't feel, even though it's just one person on the camera, don't feel like they are just um, so much more productive than you, and they're doing this all by themselves. They've obviously created a better business than you, right? And they've taken a lot more risk than you have, because they're paying all these people money to basically keep them disciplined and to make sure the thumbnails are great and to make sure the
Yeah.
titles are great and to make sure the script is great. But if you don't have those resources, I think that can be a little bit overdone. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, where you can, it's great to be able to outsource. I know, obviously both of us outsource our, video and audio editing and whatnot. But yeah, definitely, you want to kind of, in some sense, like look to maybe like the next level, like where are they and what can you do to reach them instead of like this crazy like top end level. Obviously you can take some lessons from them, but yeah, I think it was Mr. Beast who said he has his team come up with like 100 titles, like some ridiculous number, and just like pare it down from there, which is obviously like none of us have the time to do that. So yeah, I mean, definitely, wise words.
Hmm.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, but another great lesson for Mr. Beast is before he did that, he threw a bunch of crap at the wall. I think his first video that went viral was he read the dictionary like on a
Yeah.
live stream for like a couple of days straight.
Yes. Ridiculous
So
stuff. He
yeah,
counted to like 100,000 or like a
yeah,
million or something crazy
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
good stuff. Good
all
stuff.
right, I think you're up next, buddy. Do you have anything else for us?
Um, Yeah, well, let's see. So I did talk about outsourcing a little bit, but yeah, maybe I'll go into that a little bit more and I can tack on another one too. But yeah, I think if you have the funds, I think outsourcing can be really fantastic because, then you can focus your time on like really the business element of it all in terms of like, like creating courses and the monetization part of it, like, because I used to spend, several hours, for example, like editing my podcasts and YouTube videos. And now that I'm outsourcing it, then I can use that time to again just like build the business instead. So that's been super helpful. I know that not all of us are able to do that at this point, but there's also you can even outsource like to other countries as well, where the amount you have to pay is like way less than you would have to
Hmm.
pay like a person who resides here. So yeah, trading your time for money and then investing that in like a more high value task for yourself, let's say. So yeah, that's a big one for me. um yeah, and like I said, you do it too, Peter, right? How valuable have you found that?
Oh, it's extremely valuable. I have a couple of different thoughts on that. One thing
Yeah.
you tapped on is, outsourcing to different countries can make a big difference. A great website people can go to is onlinejobs.ph. Like I remember
I
when I
use
heard
that.
that on a podcast, I'm like, oh, and then like you get some great talent and
Yes.
and very affordable.
Yes.
But I do also think it is important, especially if you're small, to be dangerous in as many things as possible.
Mm.
Like for example, this entire week, my video editor, he's on a honeymoon, so I feel
Oh,
great. That's great. Yeah. So I
congrats.
for the last week, which I've pumped out a lot of YouTube videos, I've edited every single video.
Well done.
So having the ability to do it yourself when you need to, like let's say you got a bunch of different projects going on and so sometimes if I have a bunch of different projects, I'll say, okay, I'm going to have him edit these because they're like more important, right? Maybe they're like, I want them to be sales videos or something like that. And then I'll edit these over here. And then another thing too is the more you know how to do stuff, you can also, for lack of a better word, know how to call bullshit. Like if you can edit a video just as good and they send something back that's not very good, you can kind of know like, well, if you know what their talent is, you're gonna go, oh, you didn't really put a good effort in because I could have done that video edit and I know you're better than me. Or if it took like way too long, that's probably the biggest thing you're gonna struggle with is
Mm.
sometimes it takes a long time to get back a video and you then know like either they're working with a bunch of people or they're just like in a rut. They could be in a rut. They could be a little
Yeah.
depressed or something. You never know. But at least you could say, "Hey, man, I could have edited this video in like 3 hours, and I've been waiting 3 days for it. What's going on over there?" So I think it's important to know how to do some stuff so you know kind of what's going on because you're not going to be able to see a lot of the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, yeah, that's such great advice, Peter. I mean, you speak about your great skills editing videos. I edited the first like 120 episodes for my podcast, and then I was able to hand it off to an editor. I should have done it sooner, but now I have like 330 some. But yeah, just now, I'm able to know, like, if an editor says like they took like 5 hours, I'm like, that's a bit too long for that 30-minute episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's just great too, like being in a pinch as well, being able to, add like something else, maybe if you want to publish that day and maybe you realize at the last minute that the editor gave you something back where they didn't quite, do that area that you wanted edited. So yeah, definitely good to know it first and then outsource it. And then, important thing with that too is then you can make the SOP for them, because that's a really important part. It's like, when you outsource, you can't just expect that this person will like know what to do exactly with everything. It's much better, especially if they're not based in the US or wherever you're from, to create these clear SOPs step by step, so that and even create tutorials if possible, that will really give them the best direction and give you the best output for what you're paying.
So what is an SOP for
Oh
everybody?
yeah, sorry. Yeah, standard operating procedures.
Mm.
So, but yeah, I mean, basically any sort of like step-by-step guide that you can give them. So like, for example, like when, I have my online tennis conference, I create like, a step-by-step guide on like how to create like certain web pages for the conference. And then I also have like a screen grab tutorial. I record the screen and like I show them and say, hey, first you click on this, then you click on that, etc.
Mm.
So yeah, I find that very helpful when you're outsourcing, to not just expect, because then you give them a direction, then they don't do a good job, and then you're like, what's going on? And then you just go into this like circus mode of like hiring and firing, things like that, when all you needed to do was just give them proper directions.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that's
yeah,
very important. Very
indeed.
important.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Well, I'm going to
good
go
stuff.
into my last one of the day, and then if you have another one, great.
Sure.
Um, my last one is two things. Well, a lot of different ideas, but one, focuses around one thing. And I think the last time we made a podcast, we talked about this. I think most people, I really want them to view YouTube as traffic and not to have their main goal to be a YouTuber, especially if you're watching
Yes.
this and you're a small channel. And so read a book called Traffic Secrets. And that's the playbook. And that's the playbook I follow. Is I'm going, how can I have this great opportunity to create free attention on my business. Like that is the big
Yeah.
opportunity. And even in the thing I just watched before this, it is saying that smaller channels are given more and more of a chance. YouTube wants to at least push your videos out sometimes to see how it will fly. And so you want to think about, how can I get people to watch my video and get into my database?
Yeah.
And I still think the best database to own these days is an email address. You can start to think about text too, but you'll be able to communicate more frequently without annoying them by getting their email. People are used to getting a daily email from businesses, especially if it's something that they really like and are passionate about. So that is my main thing. That's how, remember earlier in the podcast, I said, I made $19,000 without teaching a tennis lesson, and I only made $200 on YouTube this month. And we're 11 days into the month. So I did that through growing the email list year after year after year. It just didn't happen in a couple of months. It's really happened over 10 years.
Sure.
And I've been selling some online courses, but more than that, I've been selling like coaching experiences with me. And I could never make this kind of money just being on the court as a local pro. So I mean, that's the advantage. That's the opportunity YouTube gave me, is to be able to grow a list all over the world, be able to do events all over the world. And so I've been promoting that this month. And so so these events are going to happen later in the year. And that's really so valuable for a tennis coach, when I was used to literally being freezing outside in the cold. I remember teaching in 20-degree weather with the wind chill coming at you, and wondering, what am I doing with my life? And I'm making like $40 for the hour.
Yeah.
So that's the opportunity, to where whatever you're going to do is figure out how you can take YouTube traffic build what's called a landing page. We'll make some other podcasts more specifically about this, but a landing page is basically something that they land on where you offer something amazing. They give your email list, they get in your email list, and now you can deliver that and then start to build a relationship and sell them stuff. And really take advantage of the YouTube links as long as possible because they are trying to hide them more and more. So the sooner you get on this, the better. I'll end with that.
I love that. I have one more, but I don't want to take away the focus from what you just said, really, because like that's at the end of the day, I think that's like probably the most important one of all. So, I mean,
We still want to hear a bonus tip,
okay,
Nariman.
okay, perfect, perfect. I just want to highlight how important that is. Yeah, I mean, one concept that if you can do really would help out, I think, is batch processing. So, filming multiple videos, in one go around. That helps a lot. There's actually a podcaster, John Lee Dumas, and he films like I think 7 in a day or something like that. So then imagine he's done for like several weeks basically, like by filming,
Mm-hmm.
so many in
Mm-hmm.
one day. I think, but yeah, so if you can do that, it's very, very efficient, obviously, right? Because think like in a lot of cases, you have to like set up the gear and this and that extra like tension, or friction rather, sorry, is something that sometimes maybe that you might not feel like doing. So when you set up, you might as well just film several at a time, and then you're set for a while. So it's a great feeling to be ahead of the game. So yeah, I think batch processing is a good way to go about it. Do you do that, Peter?
I do sometimes.
Okay.
So I mean, that's the thing that
Same.
I could and should get better at.
Yeah, me too.
I tend to have like when I do videos, I go out to film, I'm good for like 2 to 3 videos.
Mm,
Then I find myself getting kind of stale and not as passionate. And then I'm starting to kind of stress about other things behind the scenes I have to do.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I know it's not the perfect answer, but it's what I kind of am comfortable with. I feel like if I go out there and have 2 or 3 videos, I kind of know exactly what I want to say. I'm focused on them. I already have the visuals as far as like the demos I want to do. So for me, if it gets too much, then I kind of just don't do as well with the quality of the content.
Yeah, no, that's super fair. You know yourself, and I mean, even doing 2 to 3 is what better than just the one. you know and I'm not saying like if you only do one you should feel like crap. I'm just it's like a good strategy to do multiple at a time. I just know a lot of content creators do that. So yeah, that was my bonus tip there. uh yeah, oh, this might be our longest one yet, Peter.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, awesome. Any last final words or action steps or something to think about for the audience before we adjourn for today?
Just get excited and get started. I think with all
Yeah.
the tips we've given out is continue to do research on everything, but don't think like, oh, I haven't gotten everything together, so I'm not going to release a video yet. I think it's just more important to be releasing videos. Obviously, you should be a little proud of the work and do a little bit of work on it. The more you do that, you'll get noticed faster. But so the good news is YouTube's actually showing new channel content out there. But I also want people to realize that the odds are still very low that when you start to release videos in the beginning, yes, some new channels are getting some love from YouTube. The majority of channels still they're not going to see your video. So
Yeah.
the most important thing is to get consistent. That way, you'll just naturally be making better videos, better thumbnails, and then you have a better chance at YouTube actually finding one of them and putting them out there. That's what it takes to get the ball game started, to where you're like, YouTube's actually, if I put this out there and it bombs, then I must be a failure because I am hearing all these YouTube gurus say that new channels are getting a lot of love these days.
Mm.
Most of them are not, even though a lot of them are. Remember, it's a big world out there.
Yeah. It's it takes time, and yeah, just get started and don't worry about the views really, in the first many videos and just
Yeah, I
focus on
mean,
improving and, building the business as well, figuring out how to get that traffic off of YouTube to your own database.
yeah, I mean, even Mr. Beast, who says I could get, he's very confident now. So he thinks I can grow any channel. I can, I know how to get views. I know the thumbnail formula. I know all that. So he says that, and he talks about the importance of that. But he also says to people starting out, he's like, make 100 videos and then come talk to me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he says. It's like, make 100 videos, then come talk to me. Before that, don't even come talk to me, because he's basically saying, don't expect much from your first 100 videos. So
100%.
that's a lot of videos. So you guys get going and don't expect much. Just expect more from yourself. Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh, fire.
Ooh.
Might have to repost that on the socials after.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, yeah, thanks for listening, and a lot of fun, and pick at least one strategy and implement and see how it works for you. So appreciate you tuning in.
See you guys.
Take care.